The flames clawed at the night sky like vengeful fingers, turning the crumbling South Side row house into a pyre of forgotten dreams. Brandon Hayes plunged into the inferno without a second thought, his SCBA mask fogging with sweat and smoke, driven by the faint wail of an infant that sliced through the roar like a knife to the gut. As he burst into the upstairs bedroom, collapsing beams groaning overhead, he locked eyes with the teen huddled in the corner. 18, maybe 19, clutching a squirming bundle to his chest, his face a mask of terror that mirrored Brandon's own buried nightmares from a lifetime ago. "Give me the kid," Brandon bellowed, his voice muffled but commanding, years of Chicago FD drills kicking in like muscle memory. The boy Evan, though Brandon didn't know it yet, hesitated, his arms tightening around the baby as if letting go meant surrendering his soul. But the ceiling buckled, a chunk of plaster crashing down inches from Evan's leg, and in that split-second heartbeat, he thrust the infant forward, their fingers brushing in a spark of desperate trust that neither could explain. Brandon snatched the baby, a tiny girl no more than 6 months old, her cries muffled against his turnout coat as he scooped Evan up next, slinging the kid over his shoulder like a fallen comrade. They stumbled through the hallway, heat blasting their backs like a furnace door slammed shut, the world narrowing to the red glow of his helmet light and the thud of boots on charred stairs. Outside, under the merciless spray of hoses, paramedics swarmed them. Brandon handed off the baby first, her wails turning to hiccuping sobs as she was wrapped in a thermal blanket, then lowered Evan to the gurney, the teen's hand lingering on his arm, a silent thank you etched in the soot-streaked grip. That grip haunted Brandon for days. He was 32, built like the Windy City itself, tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of quiet strength that came from hauling hoses up 5 flights in blizzards and burying too many friends under folded flags. Born in the shadow of the L tracks, Brandon had clawed his way out of a childhood straight out of a Steinbeck novel. Abandoned at 5 by a mother who caught him playing house with the neighbor boy, whispering secrets about princes who kissed instead of fought. "You're not my son anymore," she'd hissed, dumping him on the steps of a Gary, Indiana group home with nothing but a Spider-Man backpack and a note that read, "Take him. He's broken." The system chewed him up. Foster homes that smelled of stale beer and suspicion. Teachers who looked the other way when the older boys cornered him in the locker room. But Brandon survived by building walls higher than the Willis Tower, coming out at 16 to a counselor who actually listened, then enlisting in the FD at 20, trading ghosts for sirens. Now, in the sterile hum of Mercy Hospital's burn unit, those walls cracked just a fraction. The baby, Lila, they'd learn later was fine, a miracle wrapped in pink hospital booties, her big blue eyes scanning the room like she owned it. Evan, though. Evan Carter, 18 and fierce as a southbound gale, had second-degree burns on his arms and a fractured wrist from shielding Lila during the collapse. But it was the look in his eyes that got Brandon. Raw, unguarded vulnerability, like staring into a mirror from 27 years back. "You're the guy from the fire," Evan said when Brandon poked his head in on the 3rd day, balancing a styrofoam cup of vending machine coffee. The room smelled of antiseptic and instant noodles, monitors beeping a steady rhythm. Evan sat propped up, bandages peeking from his hospital gown, his dark hair falling in waves that begged for a comb. He was pretty in that effortless Midwestern way, high cheekbones, full lips curved in a half-smile that didn't quite reach his hazel eyes. Brandon shrugged, leaning against the doorframe to keep distance. "Guilty." "How's the arm?" He nodded at the cast, scrawled with sharpadoodles from nurses. "Get well soon, and Chicago strong." Evan flexed his fingers, wincing. Itches like hell. But Lila's the champ. Slept through the whole chaos after you handed her off. His voice softened on her name, a protective edge sharpening it. She's my sister. Half-sister, technically. Mom's gone. Car wreck last winter. It's just us now. The words landed like embers on dry tinder. Brandon knew that ache, the hollow where family should be. He stepped inside, pulling up a vinyl chair that squeaked in protest. I'm Brandon. Hayes. And hey, you did good in there. Most folks would have frozen. Evan's laugh was bitter, short. Frozen? Nah, I was praying. To whoever listens to screw-ups like me. He glanced away, out the window where Lake Michigan's steel-gray expanse mocked the sunny day. Appreciate it, man. Seriously. You saved our lives. Brandon waved it off, but something in Evan's gaze hooked him deeper than the adrenaline rush of the pull. Those eyes, hazel flecked with gold, just like his own in the rare moments he let himself look in the mirror without flinching. Part of the job. What's your story, Evan? South Side kid fighting fires at 18. Evan's jaw tightened, fingers tracing the edge of his sheet. Story? Born in the wrong zip code. Wrong everything. Mom was a waitress at a diner off Halstead. Dad? Who knows? He split before I could walk. Raised Lila mostly myself after Mom died. She's all I've got. He paused, eyes flicking back to Brandon, curious now. You? Look like you've seen some shit yourself. Brandon hesitated. He didn't do personal. Not with rookies or dates or anyone who might stick around long enough to see the cracks. But Evan's stare was a challenge. Warm and unyielding. Grew up in the system. Foster care carousel. Found my way here. He tapped his FD patch. The eagle emblem frayed from too many washes. Keeps the demons at bay. They talked then, easy as breathing, about the Bears' latest choke. The best deep dish spots that didn't charge tourist prices. The way winter wind off the lake could cut you deeper than any blade. Evan was sharp, funny in that self-deprecating way that hid scars, quoting Tupac lyrics between bites of Jell-O. By the time visiting hours ended, Brandon had his number scribbled on a napkin, promising to check in. For the kid, he told himself, ignoring the flutter in his chest that had nothing to do with sirens. Weeks blurred into a rhythm Brandon hadn't known he craved. He swung by the tiny walk-up Evan rented in Englewood, a shoebox apartment with peeling wallpaper and a crib jury-rigged from milk crates. Lila was a terror, all chubby fists and gummy grins, her laughter filling the space like sunlight through boarded windows. Evan juggled community college classes, nursing, because someone's got to fix what breaks, and night shifts slinging burgers at White Castle, his cast coming off to reveal skin mottled with healing burns that he hid under long sleeves. Brandon brought groceries once, then twice, then it became habit, bags of Huggies, frozen pizzas that didn't taste like cardboard, a second-hand stroller that actually folded. In return, Evan cracked open his world, late-night confessions over cheap beer on the fire escape, stars smudged by city glow. I knew I was gay by 12, Evan admitted one humid August night, voice low as cicadas hummed. Mom caught me with a skin mag under the mattress. Didn't freak, just said, love who you love, but don't let it kill you. Best advice she ever gave. Brandon's throat tightened, the old wound throbbing. Mine? Kicked me to the curb for it. Said I was an abomination. The words hung heavy, but Evan's hand on his knee was steady, an anchor in the storm. You're not. You're the guy who runs into fires for strangers. Evan's touch lingered, thumb brushing denim, sending heat coiling low in Brandon's gut. Their eyes met, the air thickening with unspoken want, the slow burn of possibility. It started innocent. A brush of shoulders cooking spaghetti, Evan's laugh vibrating against Brandon's back when Lila smeared sauce on his nose. Then bolder. A shared glance across the playground, fingers intertwining under the dinner table when the TV droned cop shows. The first kiss happened on a rainy Tuesday, thunder rumbling like applause as Evan backed Brandon against the fridge, mouths crashing in a tangle of need and relief. "I've wanted this since the hospital," Evan murmured, breath hot against his neck, hands mapping the ridges of muscle earned from deadlifts and despair. Brandon pulled back just enough to search his face, heart hammering. "You're sure? I'm older. Messed up." Evan grinned, fierce and young. "Mess me up too." They dove in headfirst, lovers in the quiet hours after Lila's bedtime, bodies learning each other like Braille, Evan's lithe frame arching under Brandon's weight, gasps swallowed in the dark, the world shrinking to sweat-slick skin and whispered promises. It was messy, real. Evan teasing Brandon's salt and pepper stubble, Brandon tracing the constellation of freckles across Evan's collarbone. For the first time since boyhood, Brandon felt seen, not as the abandoned kid or the hero with the hose, but as a man worthy of holding. But cracks spiderwebbed early. Evan's phone buzzed at odd hours, unknown numbers, texts he deleted too quick. "Bill collectors," he'd mutter, changing the subject to Lila's first tooth. Brandon let it slide, too tangled in the afterglow to push. Until the night he came home from a 24-hour shift to find Evan pacing, Lila fussing in her swing, a manila envelope clutched like a grenade. "What's this?" Brandon asked, dropping his duffel, the air sour with tension. Evan froze, eyes wild. "Nothing. Junk mail." But Brandon saw the return address, Gary Family Services. The same ghosts that haunted his file. He snatched it, ripping open the seal before Evan could lunge. Inside, a faded photo, yellowed edges curling. A woman with tired eyes and a gap-toothed boy of 5, arms wrapped around a toddler with the same dark curls as Evan. On the back, in spidery script, "My boys. Keep them safe. M." The room tilted. That boy him. The toddler Evan. And the woman. Their mother. The one who'd branded him broken and walked away. "You knew," Brandon whispered, voice cracking like dry ice. All this time, Evan's face crumpled, tears carving tracks through the stubble. "I swear, not at first. Found the letter in Mom's stuff after the funeral. Thought it was a lie, some fever dream. Then you showed up, and your eyes. God, Bran, they're mine. But I was scared. You'd hate me. Or worse, pity me." Pity? It burned hotter than any flashover. Betrayal twisted in Brandon's chest, sharp as shrapnel. "You let me fall for you. Slept with your brother." The word poisoned the air, turning their bed to thorns. Evan reached out, desperate. Half-brother. Different dads. "And it wasn't like that. I love you. Not because of blood. Because of us." But the lie festered. Brandon stormed out, rain lashing his truck like accusations, driving aimless loops around the Dan Ryan until dawn broke gray and unforgiving. He crashed at the station, bunk hollow under him, dreams fractured with flames and a child's cry. Days bled into silence. Evan texted apologies. Please, talk to me. Lila asks for Uncle Bran. Brandon deleted them, threw himself into calls. Structure fires in Pilsen. Med runs for ODs in Austin. But the pull was magnetic, guilt gnawing like termites. He was her hero, Lila's, with her pudgy hands grabbing his pinky, babbling Bobby like a lifeline. And Evan, with his crooked smile and fierce heart, the brother fate had stolen then returned in disguise. The breaking point came on a crisp October shift, radio crackling with a multi-vehicle pileup on I-94. Brandon's rig screamed code 3, lights carving the fog. But as they cordoned the scene, twisted metal, horns blaring, his blood iced. There, pinned in a crumpled Civic, was Evan, airbag deployed like a shroud, Lila's car seat mercifully rear-facing in the back. No, Brandon choked, shouldering through first responders, gloves shredding on jagged doorframe as he pried it open. Evan's face was slack, blood trickling from a gash on his temple. Not much, but enough to turn the world red. Lila wailed, strapped safe but terrified, her tiny face streaked with tears. Hang on, kid, Brandon murmured to Evan, staunching the flow with his bandana, jaws of life whining behind him. Not like this. Not after everything. He cradled Lila first, passing her to the medics with hands that shook, then rode with Evan in the ambo, siren wailing their dirge, monitors beeping frantic Morse. At the ER, chaos reigned, surgeons barking orders, IVs snaking like vines. Brandon paced the waiting room, coffee gone cold, until the doc emerged. Concussion, lacerations, broken ribs. He'll pull through. The baby's fine, minor bruising. Relief buckled Brandon's knees. He sank into a plastic chair, head in hands, the dam breaking in sobs that echoed off linoleum. Nurses averted eyes, but he didn't care. He'd almost lost them, his family, blood or not. Evan woke at midnight, groggy under fluorescent glare, Brandon dozing in the chair beside him, calloused hand engulfing his. Bran! Evan's voice was sandpaper rough. Brandon stirred, eyes bloodshot but clear. Here, you came, couldn't not. Silence stretched, heavy with unsaid. Then, softer, I'm sorry. For running. For everything. Evan shifted, wincing. Me too. The lie. But I meant it, all of it. The love. Brandon swallowed, the word brother a ghost between them. We can't. You know that. Evan nodded, tears spilling. I know. But family, that's forever. Right? Dawn painted the room gold as Brandon gathered him close. Not lovers' embrace, but brothers, fierce, forgiving, the kind that mends what fire can't touch. Yeah. Forever. Rebuilding started slow, like mortar setting in cracked brick. Brandon moved in officially a week after the crash. Officially for practical reasons. He told the guys at the house, but truth was, the apartment felt emptier without Evan's sneakers by the door and Lila's toys underfoot. He claimed the couch at first, a lumpy relic from a garage sale, but nights found him in the rocker by her crib, thumb stroking her downy hair while Evan slept off pain meds in the next room. The air hummed with awkward grace. Shared meals where forks clinked too loud, TV volume cranked to drown unspoken aches. Evan healed outward first, stitches out, ribs taped, back to classes with a limp that faded like old ink. Inward, that was surgery without anesthesia. Therapy sessions twice a week, mandated by the social worker sniffing around post-accident child services, always circling like crows. Family history? The caseworker asked, clipboard poised like a guillotine. Evan glossed over it. Mom's gone. Brother's here. But his eyes flicked to Brandon, plea and pride tangled. Brandon sat in on one session, uninvited, his bulk folding into the child-sized chair like a bear in a dollhouse. The therapist, a no-nonsense Latina with a Mets mug, arched a brow. And you? How's this landing? He shifted, calluses rasping on armrests. Like a gut punch. But I've taken worse. They unpacked it then, the abandonment, the photo, the cosmic joke of falling for your own blood. Evan cried, ugly and unfiltered. Brandon clenched fists until knuckles whitened, then reached across, squeezing his knee. Platonic now. Lifeline. We're okay, he rumbled. We'll figure it. Outside those walls, life roared on. Fall turned Chicago feral. Leaves carpeting sidewalks in crimson, wind whipping off the lake with teeth. Brandon pulled a kid from a sewer grate during a nor'easter, earned a commendation plaque that gathered dust on the mantel. Evan aced a midterm, celebrated with Giordano's pie and a rom-com marathon, Lila gnawing a teething ring between them on the couch. Laughter crept back, tentative as spring thaw, Evan's impressions of their crusty landlord sending Brandon into belly laughs that hurt his sides. But romance? That ghost lingered, seductive and sharp. Showers ran long, steam fogging memories of hands on hips. Evan's sleep shirt rode up, exposing the dip of his spine, and Brandon's gaze lingered too long, heat pooling traitorous. One night, after a double shift left him bone-tired, Brandon stumbled in to find Evan shirtless, changing Lila's diaper, muscles flexing under lamplight. Their eyes met in the mirror, charged, and for a heartbeat, the room shrank. Bran, Evan started, voice husky. Don't. Brandon turned away, jaw locked, fleeing to the fire escape for air that burned lungs. He lit a rare smoke, bad habit from rookie days, watching taillights snake below like fireflies on steroids. He's your brother. Get it together. But the heart didn't logic. It yearned, messy and human. Evan followed, hoodie zipped against the chill, leaning on the railing. We gotta talk about it. Nothing to say. Brandon exhaled smoke, acrid ribbon curling skyward. Bull. You're hurting. I'm hurting. Evan's shoulder brushed his accidental fire. I still feel it. Want you. But I won't ruin us. Brandon crushed the butt under his boot, sparks dying. You didn't. Blood did. He faced him then, seeing the boy from the flames, the lover in the dark, the brother in the light. I love you, Evan. Different now. Deeper. But if we cross that line, we won't. Evan's hand found his chaste clasp. Promise. Winter clamped down, iron-fisted. Snow blanketed the city in hush, muffling the world's roar. Holidays loomed, a minefield. Brandon's first without ghosts, Evan's first without Mom's lumpy lax. They forged new tree from a corner lot, strung with dollar store lights. Turkey charred on the edges but juicy inside. Lila smearing gravy on her high-chair tray like finger paint. Presents unwrapped slow. A leather-bound journal for Evan. Write your story. Not just survive it. A toy fire truck for Lila that lit up with whoops and wails. But under the tinsel, shadows stirred. Evan's phone buzzed again. Persistent. Now from a 219 area code. Indiana's bite. He silenced it, but Brandon caught the name, Aunt Rita. Family? He asked over cocoa, mug steaming. Evan's spoon clinked against ceramic. Distant. Mom's sister. Thinks she can waltz in now. Play grandma. Bitterness edged his tone. Fresh wound. Let her try. Brandon's protectiveness flared. Paternal and fierce. We're solid. Yet Rita came anyway. Unannounced on a sub-zero afternoon. Bundled in a puffy coat and regret. 50s. Peroxide blonde going gray. Eyes like Evan's but dulled by mileage. She clutched a poinsettia, wilting as the welcome. Evan? Oh, honey. He stood rigid in the doorway. Lila on his hip. Brandon a wall behind. What do you want? To see you. Her. Rita's gaze darted to the baby, softening. After your mom. I should have reached out sooner. Should have. Evan's voice cracked. Like when she died. Or when I was bouncing between motels at 16. Rita flinched. I was grieving. And you always so stubborn. Like her. Brandon stepped forward. Hand on Evan's shoulder. She's family. We're family. Say your piece. Inside. Over weak tea. Rita spilled. The photo's origin. A snapshot from better days before the bottle claimed their mom. Before the man who fathered Brandon vanished with his secrets. She loved you both. But after she left the older boy, your brother, God with services, guilt ate her. She drank to forget. Evan's knuckles whitened on his mug. Forgot enough to raise me right? Rita's tears fell. No. But she tried. Wanted you safe. When I heard about the fire, the hero firefighter, I put it together. Thought maybe fate's giving second chances. The word brother hung again, but softer now, laced with possibility. Rita stayed an hour, cooing at Lila, promising checks for diapers, not redemption, but a start. When she left, hugging Evan stiffly, Brandon pulled him close on the couch, Lila between them like a bridge. You good? Evan nodded into his shoulder. Yeah. Something. That night, as snow tapped the window like Morse, they talked till 3 a.m. about forgiveness's sharp edges, love's stubborn shapes. Evan's head on Brandon's chest, heartbeat sinking to the rhythm of what-ifs. No lines crossed, but the bond deepened, roots twisting through concrete. Spring teased early, daffodils pushing through sidewalk cracks like defiance. Evan graduated with an associate's, cap tassel swinging as Brandon hooped from the bleachers, Lila waving a pom-pom. Job offers trickled, pediatric ward at Rush, entry-level but steady. Brandon pulled strings for a transfer to Engine 42, closer to home, trading Southside chaos for neighborhood watch. But fate, that cruel jester, had one more twist. A letter arrived in May, forwarded from Gary. DNA results, courtesy of Rita's meddling, confirming what they'd guessed, half-siblings, same mother, fathers lost to time. Enclosed, a locket, tarnished silver with their baby photos pressed inside. Mom's handwriting on a note. My heart's. Forgive if you can. Evan read it aloud, voice steady, Lila napping in her pen. She knew. About you being gay. The note says she regretted it every day. Brandon traced the locket's chain. Throat tight. Doesn't fix it. But explains. They drove to Indiana that weekend. Evan behind the wheel of Brandon's old F-150. Lila gurgling in her seat. Gary sprawled grim, Steel mills rusting skeletons. Homes sagging under memory. The group home stood defiant. Chain link fence rattling in lake breeze. Brandon hadn't returned since 18. But now, with Evan at his side, felt less like prison, more like origin. They left flowers on the steps, Lila's tiny hand clutching a daisy. To the kid who survived, Evan said. To us, Brandon echoed. Back in Chicago, summer baked the asphalt, humidity thick as desire unspent. Evan dated a barista named Marco, sweet with tattoos and salsa moves. Testing waters Brandon watched from afar, proud ache blooming. He's good for you, Brandon told him over ribs at Lem's, sauce staining fingers. You think. Evan's grin was shy, alive. I know, and he did love shifting, not lost, into something vast. Guardian, confidant, the brother he'd mourned. Yet in quiet moments, alone with the hum of the AC, Brandon wondered about his own heart. 33 now, silver threading his temples, the FD brotherhood his constant but lonely bedfellow. Hookups at Pride afterparties fizzled, faces blurring into Evan's echo. Time to try, he thought, swiping right on an app one restless night. Profile pic of a teacher named Riley, curly-haired and kind-eyed. Bio reading books, bikes, bad puns. Their first coffee turned to dinners, then a kiss under Wrigleyville street lamps, tentative as first snow. Riley was easy, listened to FD war stories without glazing over, laughed at Brandon's dry wit, didn't flinch at the family saga when it spilled over wine. Sounds like a novel, he said, fingers lacing with Brandon's. You're the hero. Nah. Just a guy figuring it out. By fall, Riley moved in on weekends, his cat tolerating Lila's chaos, his patience a balm on old burns. Evan approved with a bro hug and a wink. Treat him right, or I'll sick the kid on you. Lila, toddling now, called him wee-wee, tugging at his jeans, and Riley scooped her up, spinning till giggles echoed. The high came at Pride, rainbow flags snapping in Grant Park breeze, bass thumping from floats. Brandon and Evan marched side by side, Lila in a wagon decked with glitter, Riley's hand in Brandon's, Marco trailing with a cooler of craft beers. Confetti rained, cheers roared, and for a mile, the world felt whole, no abandonments, no betrayals, just stride and sweat and the pulse of chosen kin. But drama brewed in shadows. Rita called one drizzly November eve, voice quavering over static. Evan? Is bad. Hospital. You're our cousin. Overdose. Evan paled, phone slipping. Cousin? Which? Tommy. Your mom's sister's boy. Found him in a motel off I-80. Pills. The drive to Hammond was hell. Traffic snarling, wipers slapping rhythm. Tommy was 24, skeletal under hospital sheets, track marks mapping regrets. Family reunion turned triage. Rita weeping in the hall, Evan gripping the bed rail, Brandon corralling Lila in the waiting room with crayons and whispers. Why now? Evan hissed to his aunt. Fury raw. She dabbed eyes with a tissue. He's family. Like you too. Lost too long. Tommy woke lucid, ice clearing to Evan's face. Cuz? Shit. Heard about the fire. You okay? Evan nodded, throat bobbing. Yeah. You? Tommy's laugh wheezed. Working on it. Later, clean and shaky, he confessed. Mom's side ran deep in Shadow's booze. Bad choices. The bottle claiming aunts and uncles like tolls. Don't let it take you, he begged Evan, glancing at Brandon. Heard your brothers. Rare win. It was win, that fragile thing. They rallied. NA meetings in basements smelling of coffee and smoke. Group texts with check-ins. Rita hosting awkward Sundays with jello salads and halting stories. Bonds knit tighter. Threads of blood and choice weaving a net. Winter circled again, but softer. Lila's second birthday. Cake smeared on cheeks. Balloons bobbing. Riley snapping pics. Marco DJing kid tunes. Brandon watched Evan blow out her candles. Proxy for wishes unspoken, and felt it settle. Peace, earned in embers. Yet climax loomed, unbidden. A call from the FD chief. Voice grave. Hayes. Briefing room. Now. Suspension anonymous tip. Claims of improper relations with a minor from the fire. Evan's age. Their history twisted by some busybody's gossip. Rita's loose lips maybe. Reporters sniffed. Headlines brewing. Hero or homewrecker. Brandon's world imploded. Station mates side-eyed. Shifts yanked. Badge burning a hole in his drawer. Evan raged. Lawyering up with a pro bono queer advocate. But doubt festered. Did I do this? Drag you down? No. Brandon cupped his face. Fierce. We fight. Together. The hearing was a circus. Panel of brass. Union rep sweating bullets. Evan testifying in a borrowed suit. Voice steady as steel. Brandon's my brother. Saved my life. More than that, he's family. DNA packet slapped on the table. Irrefutable. Tip dismissed as malice. Suspension lifted. But scars lingered. Whispers in the locker room. A cautionary tale in the ranks. Through it, Riley stayed nights with takeout and trash TV. Hands gentle on Brandon's tension-knotted back. You're gold, he'd murmur. Kisses soft as snowfall. Evan leaned on Marco. Their dates turning serious. Rings whispered in future tense. Spring bloomed defiant. Cherry trees pink against blue. Lila's first steps. Wobbly toward Brandon's open arms. Evan cheering. The apartment alive with whoops. They gathered on the fire escape that night. Beers clinking to toasts to survivals. To secrets unearthed. To love in its many skins. But the arc bent toward close. Summer heat peaked. A heat wave turning the city to oven. Brandon's rig hit a warehouse blaze in Little Village. Chemicals popping like gunfire. Roof caving in slow motion. He was inside, searching for stragglers, when the beam gave weight-crushing leg. Pain exploding white-hot. Radio crackled. Haze down. Evac. He crawled. Vision blurring. Smoke a shroud. Then hands, strong and sure, hauling him free. Not his crew, Evan. Somehow there. Volunteer auxiliary badge flashing. Face grim through the mask. Got you. Bro. Outside. Oxygen hissing. Medics swarming. Brandon gripped his hand. How? Saw the call on scanner. Couldn't not. Evan's eyes shone. Terror and triumph. Hospital again. Deja vu in beeps and bleach. Riley paced. Evan held Lila outside the curtain. Family orbiting like planets. Leg fractured. Pins and plates. But he'd walk, run. Even after PT. Recovery was grind. Crutches clacking linoleum. Evan rigging ramps from scrap wood. Lila helping with toy tools. Riley read aloud from dog-eared sci-fi. Marco brought empanadas hot from his abuela's kitchen. Rita visited, bearing quilts stitched with wonky stars. For mending. One humid night. Pain meds dulling edges. Brandon and Evan sat on the balcony, city humming below. Lila slept inside, monitor chirping soft. Scared me, Evan admitted, voice small. Thought I'd lose you. Like Mom. Brandon pulled him close, head on shoulder, brotherly now, unbreakable. Not going anywhere. Promise. Evan nodded, tears silent. Love you, Bran. Love you too. Always. Autumn painted Chicago in fire, oaks blazing russet, maples bleeding gold, the air crisp with promise of frost. Brandon's rehab turned corner. First step sans crutch, then jogs in Lincoln Park, Riley timing him with a stopwatch and cheers. Sub 6-minute mile? Beast mode. He'd tease, rewarding with kisses that tasted like victory and vanilla lattes. Evan thrived too, full-time at Rush. Scrubs crisp. Stethoscope a talisman. Marco proposed over Skyline Picnic. Ring simple silver with a sapphire chip. Like your eyes. When you're bossy. Evan said yes with a laugh and a tackle. Wedding whispers for spring. Lila flowered into terror. Words tumbling. Unca Buon. Curls wild as Evan's. Spirit a whirlwind. But under the idol, undercurrents stirred. Rita's calls grew frequent, laced with urgency. Tommy's slipping again. Can you talk? Evan went, weekends to Hammond, hauling his cousin to meetings, sharing war stories over diner hash. Brandon tagged along once. The Milltown's rust a echo of his youth. Tommy's hollow cheeks a mirror to what could have been. You're lucky, Tommy said one gray afternoon, chain-smoking outside the rec center. Family that sticks. Mine? Ghosts in the machine. Evan clapped his shoulder. Not ghosts. Stick around. Rita watched from the porch, arms crossed, pride flickering. You boys. You're healing what she broke. Their mother, specter ever present. The locket hung on a chain around Evan's neck now. Photos faded but cherished. Brandon resisted wearing his, too heavy, like chains, but kept it in a drawer, talisman against doubt. November brought gales off the lake, whipping waves to froth. FD holiday party loomed. Annual bash at the hall. Kegs. Karaoke. Spouses in ugly sweaters. Brandon dreaded it. Post-scandal eyes still lingered, jokes landing sideways. But Riley insisted, decking him in a garland tie. Own the room. Hero. The hall thrummed, polka dots and pine. Brass band blaring jingle bells. Crew slapped backs. Wives cooed over Lila in her elf onesie. Evan cornered him by the punch bowl. Marco's arm looped his waist. You good. Brandon sipped spiked eggnog. Warmth spreading. Yeah. You. Evan's grin faltered. Eyes darting. Rita called. Tommy bolted. Rehab waitlists months. Shit. Brandon set down the cup. Go. We'll cover Lila. Evan hugged him quick. Fierce. Thanks. Bro. The night blurred. Riley crooning off key, all I want for Christmas. Lila conking out on Brandon's lap amid tinsel. But midnight brought storm. Evan's text. Found him. Bad. Coming home tomorrow. Hospital vigil in the morning. Tommy intubated. Machines whirring dirge. Rita arrived disheveled, clutching rosary beads. Lord, not another, she prayed. Then to Evan, your mom. She lost her brother same way. Pills. History repeats if we let it. Evan's face hardened. Won't. He's getting in. Private pay if I have to. Brandon footed the bill. Savings scraped from overtime. No questions. Family tax, he grunted when Evan protested. Discharge day. Tommy hugged awkward, whispered to Brandon, "Oh you. Big. Pay it forward." Winter solstice dawned bitter, snow squealing under tires. Evan and Marco's engagement party crammed the apartment. Balloons bumping ceilings, potluck spread of pierogies and ribs. Toasts rang, Riley's punny, "Evan, you're Marco's North Star," guiding him straight to happiness. Rita's teary, "To love that finds its way home." Lila toddled toasts with sippy cup, "Chin chin," but joy cracked when a guest, FD widow, tipsy on mulled wine, leaned to Brandon, "Heard the rumors." "Brother thing? Kinky." Riley stiffened beside him. Brandon's blood boiled. He pulled her aside. Voice low thunder, "Mind your mouth." Or the door. She slunk off. Party resuming. But seed planted whispers, judgments, the world's small cruelties. Later, washing dishes. Riley dried. Quiet. "You okay?" Brandon scrubbed a plate raw. "Tired of explaining." "Then don't. You're you." "That's enough." Evan caught the tail end, drying Lila's curls. "Hey. Whatever it is, we got this." Brothers packed, renewed in suds and steam. Spring wedding fever gripped. Marco's abuela sewing Evan's suit, invitations etched with intertwined vines. Bachelor bash low-key, bows at the 21st. Pool and pictures. Tommy clean 6 months. Toasting with soda. To not fucking up. Rehearsal dinner at Rita's. Hammond decked in lilacs. She pulled Brandon aside. Eyes wet. "You saved him." "More than the fire." He shrugged, uncomfortable in praise. "Just did right." "No." "You are right." Ceremony day dawned flawless. June sun gilding St. Pat's steeple. Organ swelling as Evan walked aisle. Marco beaming in cream linen. Lila flower girl. Petals flung wild. Brandon best man. Ring box heavy in palm. Vows exchanged. Simple. Through fires and falls. "I choose you." Reception spilled to the lakefront. Picnic blankets and string lights. Band playing Motown. First dance. Evan and Marco swaying to Ain't No Mountain. Laughter bubbling. Brandon watched from sidelines. Riley's head on his shoulder. Heart full sweet ache. Then Evan tapped him. "Your turn, bro." Dance with the groom. They moved awkward. Big men in a sea of twirls. Evan's hand on Brandon's waist. Chaste but charged with memory. "Happy?" Brandon asked. Evan's eyes shone. "Yeah." "You." Getting there. Summer waned lazy. Heat lightning flickering horizons. Lila turned 3. Party with a kiddie pool and cake shaped like a truck. Nod to Unca Buon's rig. She babbled stories now. FW Phi. Boom. Arms flailing. But conflict brewed domestic. Riley's job offer, Boston. Tenured track at a uni. "It's big," he said over stir-fry. Fork paused. "But leaving you." Brandon's gut twisted. "Don't. Stay." Riley's eyes searched. "Is it enough?" The half-life. Nights turned tense. Love-making fervent. Then sparse. Words failing where bodies once spoke. Evan noticed. Cornering him at the station. "Trouble." Brandon polished a nozzle. Brass gleaming. "Maybe." Distance thing. Evan nodded. Wise beyond years. "Talk. Or lose it." Riley left in September. U-Haul groaning east. Goodbye kiss salt-tanged by tears. Apartment echoed. Riley's cat rehomed. Bookshelves half bare. Brandon threw into work. extra shifts, charity runs for burn victims, numbing the void. Evan stepped up, movie nights with bootleg rom-coms, Lila's hugs sticky bomb. You'll find it again, he promised. Marco nodding sage. Fall deepened, leaves crunching under boots. FD Gala. Black tie. Proceeds for the fund. Brandon went solo, starched collar chafing, nursing scotch at the bar. Then, a voice. Smooth as bourbon. Mind company? Jasper, 40-ish. Silver fox with laugh lines and a detective's badge. Met at a joint training. They'd flirted oblique. Now eyes locked intent. Buy you a drink? Jasper offered, dimple flashing. They talked till last call cases, causes, the quiet terror of night shifts. Jasper's hand brushed his on the stemware. Electric. Dinner? No pressure. Brandon smiled. First real in weeks. Yeah. Dates unfolded gentle. Jazz at Green Mill. Walks in the Botanic Garden. Jasper stories of tailing perps laced with dry wit. Sex came slow, exploratory. Jasper's touches reverent. Mapping scars with lips. Beautiful, he murmured. And Brandon believed. Just a little. Evan vetted over beers. Cop? Steady. Likes kids. Kids his sisters. Lila charmed him already. Good. Deserve good. Thanksgiving gathered them. Rita's table groaning turkey. Tommy carving with steady hand. Lila's highchair throne. Toasts to absentees. Mom. Riley. Ghosts. Jasper fit seamless. Passing rolls. Ice crinkling at Evan's barbs. But betrayal's echo whispered. A letter from Gary, final closure. Adoption records unsealed. Their father's name, Jack Hayes. Trucker dead in '05. Obituary clipping enclosed. Loved boys. It read. One lost. One found. Evan read it in the kitchen. Lila napping. He knew about you? Brandon traced the obit. Faded ink. Maybe. Didn't look. Silence. Then Evan's arm around shoulders. We found each other. That's the win. Winter solstice bonfire in the yard. Neighbors gathered. Marshmallows toasting gold. Jasper's gift. A compass engraved true north. Chain cool against skin. For when paths fork. Brandon kissed him under mistletoe bough. Crowd whooping. Evan winked from across flames. Marco's arm his anchor. Spring stirred restless. Lila's preschool play. Sheep in a nativity. Bleeding ba. With gusto. Parents clapped. Brandon filming teary-eyed. Jasper's hand warm in his. But climax crested sudden. A call at 3 a.m. Evan frantic. Lila's fever. Hi. Brandon met them at Lurie. Jasper driving lights off. Weight blurred. 4 drips. Pediatrician murmurs. Viral. Watch close. Lila whimpered. Unca. Tiny hand in Brandon's. Jasper pacing with coffee runs. Dawn broke as crisis peaked. Seizure. Small body convulsing. Alarms shrieking. Docs swarmed. Evan white-knuckled on Brandon's shirt. Don't take her. Please. They didn't. Antibiotics kicked. Fever broke by noon. Lila sipping Pedialyte with gummy bear chasers. Exhausted relief in the room. Evan curled by her bed. Marco en route. Jasper squeezing Brandon's neck. Strong family. Rita arrived with quilts. Tommy with contraband comics. She's a fighter, Rita said, stroking curls. Like her brothers. Discharge brought homecoming parade, balloons, ice cream for dinner. That night, all piled in the big bed. Lila Center. Stories read till snores. Brandon watched Evan sleep, peace softening his face, and felt it whole. Summer hummed content, barbecues on the roof. Jasper's proposal casual over ribs. Shack up? Make it official. Yes. With a tackle and cheers from the crew. Evan's anniversary trip. Door County cabin. Marco's surprise. Take the kid, Brandon insisted. Babysitting with Jasper. Lila's fishy tales endless. Fall wove gold again. FD promotion. Lieutenant. Brandon's name on the plaque. Party at the hall. Jasper toasting. To the man who saves more than lives, hearts. Winter whispered close. Snow dusting first. New Year's Eve, rooftop. City fireworks blooming. Lila's sparkler wand waving arcs. Evan pulled Brandon aside. Eyes bright. Wrote the letter. To Mom. Burned it at the lake. Brandon hugged tight. Good. She's proud. The clock struck. Cheers erupted. Kisses exchanged. Lovers. Brothers. Family forged in fire. The new year dawned crisp. Resolutions scribbled on fridge notepad. Gym 3x/week for Brandon. Date nights monthly for Evan and Marco. Potty train Lila. Crossed out with a laugh. Try again in February. Jasper moved in proper. His closet of wool suits crowding Brandon's hoodies. But the bed felt right. Sprawled limbs. Morning breath kisses. Coffee brewing dual pots. Domestic as hell, Jasper teased. Flipping eggs. Badge glinting on the counter. Evan's routine locked. Shifts at rush blending into evenings of Marco's cooking classes. Lila's bath time splashes. She chattered nonstop now. Daddy-ev, why sky blue? Drawing stares at the park. Her curls a halo under swings. Tommy relocated south. Gary's grip loosening. An A-chip one in his wallet. Rita beaming at check-ins. But undercurrents rippled. Brandon's promotion meant paperwork avalanche. Incident reports stacking like cordwood. Brass breathing down necks for metrics. Soul-sucking. He griped to Jasper over takeout foe. Steam curling. Missed the boots on ground. Jasper nodded. Chopsticks pausing. Politics. Every job's got M. But you're good at it, fair. Steady. Praise landed soft. Bomb on fray. Nights. They'd unwind with true crime pods. Jasper's detective tales topping episodes. Perp swore it was the dog. Canine alibi. Classic. Spring unfurled tentative. Tulips nodding in planters. Lila's 4th birthday. Zoo trip. Giraffe encounter leaving her shrieking joy. Cotton candy mustache. Evan captured it on video, sending to Rita our wild one. Yet conflict simmered familial. Rita announced visit week-long. To help with the wedding sequel, her code for meddling. She arrived fluttering. Suitcases stuffed quilts and recipes. Eyes cataloging the apartment. Cozy. But that couch needs slipcover. Evan rolled eyes affectionate. Brandon played host. Grilling brats in the postage yard. Lila adored Ganny. Climbing laps for stories of old days. But dinners turned interrogative. Jasper. Pension secure? Marco. Kids planned. Jasper fielded smooth. Marco joked. Lila's enough chaos. But Evan bristled private. Post-bedtime vent to Brandon. She means well. But it's like she's scouting for Mom's redo. Brandon clapped back. Let her. We're not kids anymore. Midweek. Storm broke. Rita found the locket on the dresser. Evan's. Chain tangled. And flipped. Why keep this? Pain's done. Evan snatched it. Voice rising. It's mine. Our history, not trash. History that broke you. Rita's face flushed, decades spilling. Your mom. She chose me to raise you right. Away from him. Glare to Brandon. Venom old. The boy she regretted. Gay taint. She called it. Silence shattered glass. Brandon froze. Fork midway. Jasper's hand tensed under table. Evan surged up. Get out. Now. Rita fled weeping. Cab whisking her to a hotel. Fallout lingered, Evan pacing. Tears hot. Sorry. God. Bran. Not on you. Brandon pulled him down. Hug bone crush. Blood's messy. But we're clean. Jasper mediated next morn. Coffee peace offering. Families glitch. Talk it out. Reconciliation at a diner off 95th, neutral turf. Booths sticky with syrup ghosts. Rita apologized, halting. Fear talked. Not me. Evan forgave stiff. Brandon nodded curt. No more ghosts. She left early. Train bound. Quilt gifted. Mend with this. Apartment side relief. Air lighter. Summer scorched. Asphalt shimmering. FD charity run. 5K through the loop. Brandon pacing Jasper. Crowd thundering. Finish line tape snapped. Medals heavy. Lila's cheers piercing. Go Daddy Buon. Evan's vow renewal with Marco. Vows refreshed at the courthouse. Cake smashed faces. Lila ring bearer in a tutu. Forever 2.0, Marco quipped. Frosting in beard. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. Anonymous email to Brandon's chief, LT. Hayes cover-up on family ties? Check the boy. Attached. Grainy photo from the fire. Evan in his arms. Headlines twisted. Investigation launched, internal affairs sniffing. Interviews cold. Explain. The captain barked. File thumping desk. Brandon sat straight. Badge pinned proud. Brothers. Saved lives. End of. Corroborated quick. Records. Witnesses but toll exacted. Sleep lost. Jasper's late nights tailing leads on the sender, XFD grudge. It turned. Evan fumed. Someone's poison. We sue. No. Rise above. Climax crested in August heat. Warehouse redo. Same site as Brandon's crush. Now condemned. Arson call. Accelerant slick. Flames greedy. Brandon led entry. Team tight. Stay low. Eyes open. Inside. Hellscape. Pallets collapsing. Heat warping air. Then trapped worker. Undocumented painter. Panic Spanish. Brandon reached. Mask fogging. But beam shifted. Pinning leg echo of last year's snap. Radio. Hayes hit. Pull back. Crew hauled. But smoke thickened. Vision zero. Voices faded. Then. Evans. Auxiliary again. Crawling blind. Bran. Here. Hand found hand. Pull mutual. Emergence to cheers and oxygen. Worker safe. Brandon singed but whole. Evan coughing beside. Deja vu. Ha! Hospital deja two. Stitches. Scans clear. Jasper arrived furious. No more heroic solo. Evan grinned weak. Family first. Recovery overlapped Rita's return. Penitent. Bearing tamales and tails. She babysat Lila. Bonding over puzzles. While Evan spelled Brandon at PT. Push. Like the fire. Fall cooled tempers. Sender ID'd, bitter X. Charges pending. Life normalized. Jasper's precinct potlucks. Marco's promotion to sous chef. Lila's preschool Thanksgiving. Turkey crafts. Handprint feathers. She thrust hers at Brandon. For you. Gobble gobble. He pinned it to the fridge, beside Evan's wedding pic. Best art ever. Winter twinkled, light strung. Tree felled from a lot. Ornaments clinking memories. Holiday card from Tommy. Clean 1 year. Thanks for the net. New Year's quiet. Just them. Champagne popped. Lila's sparkler fizzing. Toasts layered to healings, to holdings, to horizons. But arc deepened. Spring unearthed more. Estate letter from Gary. Mom's meager savings split. Scholarship fund. Evan's name. Brandon's too. For dreams deferred, the lawyer read. Evan teared. College. For Lila. Maybe. Brandon nodded. Yeah. Legacy. Summer splash joy. Beach days at Montrose. Sandcastles toppled by waves. Jasper's proposal redux. Ring this time. Gold band etched always. Marry me proper? Yes. With salt water and sunsets. Evan's turn. Baby announcement. Marco beaming ultrasound pic. Nephew for Lila. Or niece. Brandon hugged fierce. Uncle duties locked. Fall wedding for Brandon and Jasper. Backyard affair. Oaks shedding gold confetti. Vows graveled. Through badges and burns. I choose you. Lila scattered petals. Evan best man. To brothers and the men who love him. Reception danced till dusk. Stars pricking sky. Later. Bonfire crackle. Lila dozing. Evan leaned on Brandon. Full circle. Yeah. Home. The circle held through tempests. Winter bit hard that year. Blizzard burying the city. Plows groaning like beasts. FD on alert. Brandon's shifts endless. Shoveling hydrants. Welfare checks in unheeded walk-ups. Jasper pulled graveyard stakeouts. Homecomings to cold sheets and microwave burritos. Miss you, they'd murmur. Quick fucks against the wall. Desperate as rations. Evan's pregnancy glowed. Morning sickness conquered with ginger tea. Ultrasounds revealing a boy. Evan Jr. Vibes. Marco joked. Rubbing the bump. Lila bossed baby brother. Drawing crayon cribs. Rita relocated partial. Apartment near Rush for grandma access. Her quilts now nursery staples. Spring thaws brought bloom. Cherry festivals. Picnics under petals. Brandon's wedding album arrived. Leather-bound. Jasper flipping pages misty-eyed. Handsome devils. But conflict coiled subtle. IA cleared the email sender. But ripples lingered. Promotion stalled. Whispers of drama magnet. Captain pulled Brandon aside. Clean slate. Haze. But optics matter. Understood. He swallowed pride. Volunteered extra youth fire camps. Where kids like young Evan eyed him wary then wide. One boy. 13 and out. Confided locker room taunts. Brandon shared his scar. Walls crack. But you build better. Evan's checkups routine till June, preterm labor scare. Bedrest ordered. Marco paced. Evan pale on monitors. False alarm. But close. Family mobilized. Brandon on diaper duty. Jasper cooking bland purees. Rita rocking Lila through nights. Scary. Evan admitted post-release. Hand on belly. Want this kid safe. Will be, Brandon vowed. Echo of fire vows. Summer peaked sweltering. Lake a siren call. Cabin getaway. Rita's loner in Wisconsin. Pines whispering. Days kayaking. Nights esmores by fire pit. Bump under blankets. Lila splashed shallows. Fishy. Jasper taught her constellations. Marco grilled trout. One eve. Dusk purple. Evan and Brandon walked shore. Waves lapping secrets. Remember the hook? Evan asked, toes in sand. That night. Thought it was end. Brandon nodded, arm loose around shoulders. Beginning. Evan's hand covered the swell. This too. For all of us. Labor hit Labor Day. Ironic. Waters breaking mid-barbecue. Rush to delivery. Marco gowned. Evan gripping rails. Push. Love. Boy emerged wailing. 7 pounds even. Dark curls and lungs like sirens. Noah. They named him. Rest in Hebrew. Tiny fist clutching Evan's finger. Hospital overflowed joy. Lila peeking crib. Baby. Rita teary. Tommy Skyping cheers. Brandon held Noah first after dads. Wait sacred. Welcome. Kid. Fall cradled new. Tiny socks drying on radiators. Midnight feeds tag-teamed. Brandon's godfather duties. First bottle. Burp cloth's arsenal. Jasper doted uncle. Swing building whiz. But climax shadowed autumn. Rita's health dip. Chest pains. EKG flagging arrhythmia. Stress, doc said. But tests piled biopsy. Wait. Cancer? She whispered to Evan. Voice small. He called Brandon at dawn. Mom's side strikes again. Biopsy tomorrow. Vigil in pre-op. Rita gowned. Brave smiles. If not. Love you boys. Proud. Stop. Evan choked. You're fighting. Results benign polyp. Excised clean. Relief tsunami. Rita discharged. Vowing kale smoothies. Family hug in the hall. Winter wrapped gentle. Noah's christening. Non-denom. Lakefront pavilion. Wind chimes tolling. Lila flower girl redux. Petals for brother. Vows renewed spirit. Community. Choice. New Year's Eve grand. Catered spread. Neighbors toasting. Lila danced with Noah's bouncer. Jasper twirling Brandon. To us. Fireworks burst. Colors bleeding lake. Evan sidled. Noah swaddled. Wrote another letter. To Dad. Jack. Brandon raised glass. Burn it with me? Lakeshore midnight. Envelope aflame. Ashes to wind. Rest easy, Evan murmured. Spring eternal. Tulips defiant. Noah's Coos symphony. Lila started t-ball. Bat wild swings. Brandon coached. Jasper scorekeeping. Summer looped joyful. Cabin redux. Noah's first splash. Lila's cannonballs. Evan published op-ed. From Ashes to Family. FD Pride reprint. Fall harvest. Pumpkin patch. Harides creaking. Rita's quilt show entry Brothers Bond. Blue ribbon. Winter solstice bonfire redux. Faces firelit. Evan. Marco. Boys. Brandon. Jasper. Lillis. Tommy. Rita orbiting. Stories circled. Abandonments to arrivals. Betrayals to bonds. Lila raised mug juice to family. Cheers echoed. Flames leaping approval. Years folded seamless. Noah toddled. Unca Buon. Echoing Lila's. Evan rose RN to charge. Marco head chef. Restaurant buzz. Brandon captained. Jasper lieutenant detective. Cases crack tandem. Weddings wove. Lila's future fuzzy. But Noah's baptism promise held. One eve. Decades on. Gray threading all Brandon and Evan on fire escape. City hum eternal. Grandkids laughter inside. Rita dozing rocker. Think she knew? Evan asked. Stars pricking. Brandon smiled. Hand in hand. Yeah. We were enough. Humanity's arc. Not straight, but true. saved by blood unseen, loved beyond.